What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this Thursday edition of the Regular Fan Show, hosted by the fans, for the fans, not by former athletes, not by former coaches, players, or anything of the sorts. Just some regular fans with their regular fan takes. Vinny Fredericks, my guy Bruce Juno, back at it again on this fine Thursday morning after a nice day off yesterday. Bruce, my guy, what's going on, buddy? How are we?
Oh, we're doing good. A lot of action's been taking place. Obviously, things have been said. Champions League, that group stage finished yesterday.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get into it.
That took place. Love that. Trade deadline's coming up. A lot happening in this week of sports, this month of sports. January tends to be kind of a pretty jam-packed month.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna cover as much of it as we can fit.
We try. There's always, a little bit here and there that we can't get to. We try to get to it the next time, but that's why you're not going to see us talk any football today. We talked all football on Tuesday. We said we were going to talk some basketball. We didn't, because we ended up going a little long on the football stuff, which is fine. There's too much football to talk about. Championship Sunday was this past week, so of course we had to break all that down, and the coaching carousel, the new hires. So we'll have plenty more football to talk about with you next week as we approach the Super Bowl on February 9th. But that will end our football talk for today until we maybe get to a little bit of
that was a lot. That was a lot of football. That was what we had planned. Yeah. What are we doing? I thought we were going no NFL today.
I know. Well, maybe a little bit later. Maybe we'll play some Weddle before we wrap up the stream. Just to end things on a bit of a high note. We'll see if we can beat our score of last time. But yeah, that's it for football. We're strictly soccer, basketball, maybe some baseball news. There hasn't been too much going on, but I've seen some off-season grades thrown around. So maybe we'll dive into some of that, but it's mostly just basketball and soccer for us today. And we'll start things off, Bruce. I will mostly defer to you on this, as you are much better versed when it comes to soccer than I am, but I'm trying. I was studying up this morning while I was at the radio station, trying to, learn enough that I can act like I know what I'm talking about here. But Bruce, you brought it up earlier. You teased it a little bit. The what did you call it? The knockout round.
Yeah, so the Champions League group stages. It's not really a group stage. It used to be a group stages, so that's still in my brain. But now it's one league format where each team gets a draw of just teams that they'll play from the whole Champions League. So it's no longer into a group stage. This season,
so this is the first year that they've done this format in Champions League.
Yes, and so there's 36 teams. Top 16 make the playoffs, or top 24 make the playoffs. Sorry, I'm still getting used to the format too. It's a whole new thing. I'm still saying group stages out here. I'm still saying. So far, I've loved it. I've loved the new format. I love having one big league, and you just play eight teams from the whole format, see who moves on. Yesterday, final rounds, final games of the league stages. There's teams fighting for the. So I can explain a little bit. Well, how much did you learn? Let's hear how much you learned, Vinny. What did you learn?
Well, I was reading up a little bit, looking at where some teams finished. Obviously, your powerhouses in Liverpool and Barcelona up at the top in first and second, and what I was reading up on was about some of these matchups we're going to see as we get into these knockout stages here. As one thing that surprised me, and of course I'm like I said, not keeping up as much as you are in Champions League and some of the other soccer leagues around there, but I was surprised to see that Man City finished 22nd in the standings, so they're going to end up facing either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich in the first round. That's what caught my eye. So Bruce, bring us through that matchup, because that seems like a matchup that you wouldn't expect in the first round of knockout playoffs here.
Yeah. So basically, so how it works. This is the part that I'm a little iffy on. Not quite sure. I don't even know if I'm going to get this right, to be honest.
All right, so am I. Really I'm a little iffy too.
So there's 4 teams in the first round. So if you look at the bracket, you can see them. Like you just said, there's in cities, there's Celtic, there's Madrid, there's Bayern. If I understand correctly, those 4 teams get put into a pot and get drawn. 2 will play each other. So City will either play Celtic, Madrid, or Bayern, and then the other 2 will play each other, and then the winner of those 2 will play each other to see who will play. Or no, the winner of those 2 games, the higher seed, play Leverkusen, and the lower will play Atletico Madrid. So this is the part that's weird to me. Like, I think since you have the top 8 automatically going through, that 9 through 24 should just be like 9 plays 24, 10 plays 23. That's at least how the Americans tend to do it. But we're in Europe. It's interesting. It's kind of cool. But yeah, as you were saying, City. It was a big thing yesterday. They had their game against Club Brugge, so they finished the Champions League league stage as they had all 18 games at one time. Pretty sick on the Galazzo show. Pretty sweet. Love watching it. Thierry Henry, the GOAT. Jamie Carragher, they're awesome.
Of course, GOATs.
Yeah, and so that was the game of the day, despite the fact that they were playing Club Brugge. And Club Brugge went up 1-0. And everyone was like, no way is like the treble winners, the back-to-back-to-back champs of England gonna get knocked out. And they obviously didn't. They came back and won 3-1. But yeah, the fact that they came that close to being dropped out in the past 5 years, they've been considered the best team in the world is crazy.
So it seems like, is this pretty much like anyone's league here, or do you have, obviously, like I mentioned, Liverpool, Barcelona, the top of the pack, but is this one of those knockout tournaments where anybody can walk away with the trophy at the end of it, or do you think that, one of these top favorites is pretty much walking away with this, no questions asked?
I definitely think it'll be probably one of the, someone from, I guess, the top 8, maybe those teams that even might be lower, but that you heard of quite often, the big name clubs. But my buddy said it perfectly yesterday. He was like, ever since those big names like Messi, Ronaldo, just all the big names that you've heard growing up, we're in our early 20s, but growing up, like in our day and age, all those big names that we've heard that have been playing in Europe that have since left Europe, it's more of an even playing field. So, I mean, there's still those, better teams like Barcelona, like Liverpool. Like Liverpool's top of the Prem and Barcelona's top of their league, La Liga. And so it's like there is those better teams, but there's still like Bayern Munich, Madrid, City, PSG, Arsenal, like Juventus, all these teams that are big names and are still good that can definitely make a deep run. It's just, it's crazy to see some of these teams not in the top 8, and then you have teams like Lille and Aston Villa that are in the top 8 that I never expected to be in the top 8.
All right, well, good breakdown from you, Bruce. As I mentioned, I'll defer to you on most of our soccer conversations because I'm still in the learning stages. But as we were talking about, this is the first year that they've had this new look to the Champions League with this knockout playoff round. And obviously, we haven't seen everything unfold just yet. But so far, are you a fan of this new method they have for this format? Or do you think that maybe they're taking a step in the wrong direction?
I like the league play. I like the league play aspect. I think it's sick because, going into yesterday, you're like, oh, these players can get knocked out, or these players can move into the top 8, these teams can move into the top 8. These teams can get knocked out into the seeded part of the bracket. And you're following along. Like me and my buddy were watching it yesterday and we were like Dinamo, they didn't make it. They finished 25th, but at one point they were in 22nd, and we're like, no way is Dinamo about to make it in. We were cheering for them. We were like,
Cinderella story.
Exactly. We were like, Sporting can't score. Sporting can't score. Dinamo's beating AC Milan. Captain America scored for AC Milan. I got
there you go.
His shirt on here.
Got a rep. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, so Dinamo beat AC Milan, and then Sporting ended up tying it up and knocking Dinamo out. which we were kind of sad about. But it's cool. It's cool to see these teams still have a chance that you typically wouldn't see moving into the bracket stages.
Yeah.
Do I like the format they have where it's like 4 teams put into a pool and then I mean it's I'm iffy on it. I'll see how it goes. I would have preferred the traditional 9 versus 24, that kind of ordeal. But we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it plays out.
All right, yeah, we'll see how it plays out. We'll be sure to keep you up to date. If any big things happen out of the Champions League, our guy Bruce will break it down for you here on the regular.
The draw is tomorrow.
There we go. You heard it. The draw is tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll preview that a little bit. And either way, we'll be breaking it all down for you next week on the show as well. So Bruce, good stuff there. Any other, final thoughts on the Champions League before we wrap this little segment up here?
Just a couple players that got their transfers rejected. Ricardo Pepi, who's an American, plays for PSV in the Netherlands. He got rejected by West Ham. Well, he didn't get rejected, but West Ham's offer for him got rejected by PSV. And then Ollie Watkins, the star striker for Aston Villa, denied Arsenal.
Okay, so for someone who obviously isn't as well versed in the Champions League and these soccer leagues as you are, how does this transfer period work exactly? Is this kind of like making trades in other sports, or is this more like a free agency kind of thing?
I'd say it's more of a free agency kind of thing. I mean, you have your contracts and whatnot, but then there's the transfer window. There's the summer transfer window, and there's the January transfer window. So
Gotcha.
You can't – I mean, you could technically – sign players in, November, but you're not getting them until January.
Okay.
So there's those 2 months that are like specifically, those are when the transfer's happening. So the transfer window closes tomorrow night. So, I mean, there's already been a few transfers, but there's big names that tend to get tossed around in the last couple days. And, bigger moves will start to be made in the last couple days. And so, I mean, only time will tell. Tomorrow night it closes up, and but yeah, so people have their contracts, but it's kind of like, we'll offer you 70 mil for such and such, and then they'll decide on a contract with the player and benefits and whatnot. Gotcha. So I'd say it's more along the lines of free agency.
Okay. All right. Hey, good breakdown from you, buddy. Appreciate you putting things in simple terms for a guy like me who isn't as well versed when it comes to
soccer. It's cool. You got to get into it.
I know. Believe me, I'm trying. I like watching it. When I'm working at one of the high schools by me doing the scoreboard for their soccer teams, like I enjoy watching the game. I've struggled to figure out how all these different leagues and whatnot work, but I'm trying. I'm learning.
It is more complex than your American sports, but
it is much more complex than your simple varsity JV soccer. But
yeah, exactly.
I do enjoy it. I mean, I always enjoyed playing FIFA growing up. I always thought that was a good time, even though I didn't know what I was doing. I still tried, and I still had fun. I may have been, just trying to boot the ball as far as possible every time, but every now and again I got a goal. So it's a good time, but great breakdown from you, buddy. And like I said, when there's more news on the Champions League coming out, we'll defer to you next week, and we'll break it all down for you here on the Regular Fan Show. I said, Bruce, this is going to be a basketball-filled episode.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in the middle part of the season. All-Star weekend coming up next month. Trade deadline coming up in about a week. I want to say February 6th, if I remember correctly, is the actual date of the deadline. Thursday, February 6th at 3 p.m. is the last time to make trades across the NBA. And now, before we dive into all of the, all the potential trades, all the rumors circling around, we'll take a look at the scores from last night, and I guess we'll take a look at the scores from throughout the week as well, because we didn't get a chance to talk about it much on Tuesday. But starting with last night, your Boston Celtics, Bruce, solid outing against the Chicago Bulls at home, 122-100 the final. Kristaps Porzingis, 34 points, 8 for 14 from deep. He shot the ball 18 total times. 14 were from behind the arc, along with 11 rebounds, 3 steals on the day. Boston Celtics have had some, some games escape them recently. Certainly losing some winnable games down this recent, month-long stretch or so. But when you got Kristaps Porzingis going 8 for 14 from deep, 34 points to go alongside 28 from Jaylen Brown, 22 from Derek White. Tatum struggled a little bit, but it doesn't really matter when you have all these other guys around him who can pick up the slack. So, Bruce, your big takeaways from this Celtics team that continues to find ways to win.
Hey, I mean, we won the season series against the Bulls. Pretty sweet, Bulls are a historic program. You gotta love it.
Yeah, it's something.
But yeah, I mean, since Porzingis has came back, he has been cooking. It looks great, feels great. You love to see it. We're 33 and 15 on the season. We had kind of a dry spell in the middle of the season, but we're back. We're back. We're cooking. The second quarter yesterday was insane. I'm pretty sure we dropped like 41
points in the second.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, we had that kind of meh spell in the middle of the season, but you can't worry too much about it. Tatum, he didn't lead us last night, whatever, but he also against the Rockets, when we played the Rockets, first off, that was a push off at the end. I don't care. But Tatum didn't get going until the second half. Like, he had like 2 points going into the second half. So it's like Tatum was the big name, or is kind of the big name on our team. But we also have many players. And Eamon Thompson with a push off. Didn't get the call, but they won that game.
Well, you're right. That's one of the big strengths of this Boston Celtics team. They're just so deep that if one guy's off, there's 4 or 5 other guys that can go off for 30 on any given night. And the interesting thing that I saw was all of those threes that Kristaps hit last night, the closest one was from 27 feet out. He was and his average distance was about 29 and a half feet per 3-pointer. And he was just casually knocking them down from 30 plus feet like it was nothing. So not only is this guy, we know that he's big, 7-foot center who can guard the interior. We know he's a good 3-point shooter, but he's that comfortable that he's pulling up from 30 feet out and hitting them at that sort of clip. It's certainly, unguardable. If he manages to stay healthy like he was able to for most of last year. I know he had missed some time in the playoffs after the first round, but if he stays majority, healthy this playoff run, they should have no problem getting back to the finals. And
Don't jinx it.
I don't know if there's much jinxing that can be done. There isn't too much competition out there aside from 2 teams who also played yesterday. One of them against my Miami Heat, the Cleveland Cavaliers, absolutely dismantled my Miami Heat, 126-106. Donovan Mitchell, 34 points. Evan Mobley, 22. Did all this without Darius Garland in the game as well. 20 off the bench from Ty Jerome, 15 from George Niang. And the Miami Heat, who have now indefinitely suspended Jimmy Butler, well, they looked all right in some stretches. I mean, they had 3 guys scoring 20-plus points. Terry Rozier, Tyler Hero, and Bam Adebayo being the 3. They have some bright spots. Kel'el Ware, the rookie center, has looked good. Didn't look too great last night. Only had 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. But the Miami Heat, it seems like a lot of people care more about the Jimmy Butler drama than they do about how this Heat team is playing. But one thing is for sure, this Miami Heat team is far away from making another Cinderella trip back to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, you guys came out hot though in the second half. Offensively, just defensively, you guys came out hot, but then you let them do the same thing pretty much, and you were in too much of a hole, so it didn't really matter. Down 18.5, you kind of just
You hit it right on the money there. They did have a hot start to the second half. They got it down to single digits at some points in this game, but it was like they'd get it down to 9, 10, 11 points for their deficit, and Cleveland would go on a quick 8-0 run and jump the lead back up to 17, 18 points, and eventually it just came to be too much. They were in it. They were fighting until the very end, but with about 5 minutes left, and Cleveland just keeps on putting the knife and the dagger in your heart. It's eventually it gets to be too much, and you could tell that this team just looked defeated the last 5 minutes. They knew they weren't coming back, even though they did play solid. They were in this game for a while. The defense just wasn't really there. I mean, 126, that's not an awful defensive night, but you got to have a really good night on the offensive side of the ball if you want to give up 126 and find ways to win. So Miami Heat 23-23, exactly 500 on the year. They don't have their first round pick, by the way, as they have to give it to Oklahoma City, if I remember correctly. So with everything going on with Jimmy Butler,
to make OKC go crazy.
everything going on, tanking is not really an option for the Heat, but there's some potential trades out there that I think they certainly could make. Some I prefer more than others, but we'll dive into that in a little bit once we break down some of these trade deadline rumors. Another team in the Eastern Conference, Bruce, that could potentially be competing with the Cavaliers and your Celtics, that of the New York Knicks, who narrowly defeated Denver Broncos and Nikola Jokic 122-112 the final here. Yeah, the Denver Jokic's. But it was honestly...
You said the Broncos.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Jeez, man. See, I need to go to bed. I've been up since 5 a.m, dude. It's if anything else like that happens, I'm attributing
it happened. It happened. We're not judging. We're not judging.
No, we listen and we don't judge.
We listen and we
the
do
Denver
not
Nuggets.
Judge.
Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic fall to the New York Knicks 122-112. Jamal Murray with 33 in this one.
Murray had 33.
Had and 6 assists to go with that. Nikola Jokic, honestly, for his standards, he struggled. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. That's not a very Jokic-esque stat line. 6 for 15 from the field. Russell Westbrook had another solid outing. 14 rebounds to go along, 14 points, 4 assists. Russell Westbrook, I gotta say, he's been a very bright spot in this Denver Nuggets rotation this season. And as someone who's watched Russell Westbrook go from playing alongside Kevin Durant in Oklahoma City to then becoming an MVP without Kevin Durant still in OKC, and then just to see his career kind of trail downwards ever since. Houston didn't work out, Washington didn't work out, LA didn't work out whatsoever, Clippers didn't really work out. Everywhere Russ has gone since Houston, he's had some, statistically speaking, solid performances, but the teams don't look that good. This Nuggets team, however, they've found a way to make Russell Westbrook look solid, and he's providing a big spark for this team. Obviously not enough to overcome the New York Knicks, but if you want to take a story from this Denver Nuggets team, not the Broncos, the Denver Nuggets, then it's got to be that Russell Westbrook has sort of found his mojo, got his swagger back this season, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect fit for him. And the Nuggets, they're a playoff team no matter what. They're definitely a team that can make a push.
Yeah, they're a solid contender. Always are when they got Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't adding Russ. I mean, he fits in perfectly in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
They have Murray. They have Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter. They have a solid,
deep squad.
Solid. Yeah, I was going to say they have a solid, starting five.
Yeah, you get to the bench and they got Christian Brown coming off the bench, who's been solid. Year 3 now for him. Julian Strawther, not bad. DeAndre Jordan's still getting some decent minutes in the NBA, even as I think he's like 34 at this point, but he's still a solid low presence, can get you a rebound here and there. So this Denver Nuggets team, they're not going away anytime soon. They'll be a team that you certainly don't want to face come playoff time, but neither are the New York Knicks, who were led from 30 and 15 assists from Jalen Brunson. So absolutely ridiculous game from him. OG Anunoby knocked in 23. Karl Anthony Towns, quiet night, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, but they just continue to find ways to get it done. They, just like we were saying with the Boston Celtics, this New York Knicks team, deep. Maybe not so much on the bench, because we know how Tibbs likes to play. He doesn't like to look to his bench too much, but
they don't have a bench.
No, exactly. They don't have a bench at all. They actually, honestly, in this game, used their bench more than I expected. Both Precious Achiuwa and Deuce McBride getting 20+ minutes off the bench. Campaign 12 solid minutes. Landry Shamet got in the game. Didn't do too much. Only an assist and a rebound, but he did get himself into the game.
And a foul.
But yeah, and a foul too. But this New York Knicks team, the big question for me is, can they stay healthy? Can they continue this pace of play that they've been doing, where each starter is playing almost 35 minutes every single night? Is this gonna eventually catch up to them when playoff time rolls around and they're fatigued and the wheels are already falling off? Or will Tibbs find a way to keep these guys in shape? I don't know. It's a good question, because the players buy into it. These players want to be out there 30 plus minutes every night, but is it really the smart thing to do? I don't know. But either way,
you have a bench for a reason, and it even comes to show, like, if you look at the box score, Cat on the night played 30 minutes. His plus minus was -1.
Mm-hmm.
Like these guys, yeah, they play a lot. Obviously, they're the best players on your team.
As it looks like we lost Bruce here for a quick moment, as it looks like the point he was about to make on the New York Knicks, that being, oh, there he there he is. Well, welcome back, buddy. I still can't hear you. You must be muted. Oh, gotta love live broadcasts.
Hello?
There you are. We got you. Welcome back, my friend.
Let me make sure I didn't lose myself on TikTok as well.
Oh, yeah. Forgot to mention, yeah, we are live on TikTok now. So if you're on TikTok and you happen to see us on your For You page live, hit that follow, hit the like button, and follow alongside this journey as we continue to grow the show here. Bruce,
As we
the point you were making on the New York Knicks.
Yeah. Cat. So he obviously, yes, they're the best players on your team, but at the same time, you need to use your bench, because it's already starting to prove that you can't expect him to do everything every night, because Cat's arguably could be considered the best player on the New York Knicks. Some may say Brunson, whatever, and he's not already at this point in the season, because of the fact that potentially they aren't as deep and they don't go as deep into their bench and into their rotation. He is not contributing as much. Will that be a factor as the season progresses? Who knows? Is it a one-game stint? Who knows? But it's something to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's right now, as the season progresses, you look at a guy like Cad, whose numbers have been kind of fluctuating here and there. His rebounding numbers continue to climb, but at some point, especially for a guy like him who has dealt with injury history when he was in Minnesota, it's just too much of a risk to really take, playing a guy like that 30 plus minutes every single night. If you need him out there, you need him out there by all means. But when they're in a situation where they're up 20, you just get him off the court, because when Cat's out there, you can notice a big difference in this New York Knicks team with and without Cat. I don't have the stats in front of me right now, but with Cat on this team and in the lineup, their offense runs much smoother. They have a much better down low presence, and I mean that part of that being because they don't have Mitchell Robinson, who's supposed to come back sometime this month from his whatever injury it was, whether it's an ankle or a knee this time. It's always something with him. He's still not back. We haven't even heard a peep about Mitchell Robinson in the last month or so. And if you don't know when he's coming back, you still don't really have an answer at your backup center position. Precious Achiuwa gets some solid minutes, but he's a bit undersized to be your center out there. If Cat goes down with an injury, even if it's 2 to 4 weeks, if it's, if it's something serious where he's out for a month and a half, this Knicks team is going to fall pretty quick in the standings, and that's not something they can really live with right now. So obviously injuries are a part of the game, and you never know what's going to happen. But this Knicks team is as good as they are. They're in a very tight spot as well, because if one thing goes wrong for them, this whole entire season gets derailed. They don't have that kind of bench depth to where they can look and say, all right, next man up. Who's your next man up?
And I mean, the East is loaded.
the East is pretty loaded, especially when you have teams that are underperforming as well. Like you look at a team like, say, I don't know, the Philadelphia 76ers, who sit at 19 and 27 and are out of the play-in as the current 11 seed. They honestly are starting to turn their season around. They've won, what have they won? 4 straight? Yeah, they've won 4 straight games. Impressive
after losing
victories.
6 straight. Or
more than that, they lost 7 straight.
7 straight.
Yeah, after losing 7 straight.
I think the Wizards are gonna make a comeback.
What?
There's a lot of season left.
I can't tell if you're trolling or not.
Mellow.
You're thinking of the Hornets.
Oh, I am thinking of the Hornets.
Okay.
I think the Hornets are gonna make a comeback.
I mean, you mentioned the Hornets. Yeah, they're a team that, despite being very far down in the Eastern standings, I mean, they're 12 and 42
I was just thinking about
now.
it because last season the Hornets were dog poo poo, and they were at the bottom of the league last season. So I just kind of expected them to be there.
Same with the Pistons and the Wizards, but the Charlotte Hornets are a very interesting case. I'm glad you bring them up because they are a team that, on paper, granted they've lost LaMelo Ball on a couple of occasions. They lose him for another week now with an ankle sprain. They have a very good team here. Okay, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Mark Williams, who has a 9'9" standing reach. The guy can almost dunk just from standing straight up. Seth Curry coming off the bench as your 6th man. Josh Okogie, a solid 3-and-D guy. They have a decent team here. Obviously, you would like some more star talent out there, but LaMelo Ball, I think, when he's healthy, is a top 5 point guard in the league. And you saw that when he was leading the league in scoring for a while. His splits have been solid. 28 and 7 so far on the year is what he's averaging. He can lead this team to the playoffs. He just hasn't been healthy enough to do so. So the Charlotte team, to your point, Bruce, healthy, I think, could definitely make a run at the play-in. Right now, it's not looking very likely, but they are only 6 games out from the 10th seeded Chicago Bulls, and there's a lot of season left. So it's certainly a possibility. I don't think you're too far out there for expecting the Charlotte Hornets to make a comeback, but the Philadelphia 76ers, like we were talking about, another team that has been outside the play, and they've been playing much better as of late. They had that 7-game losing streak where before that they had only won 3 out of their last 10, but they've rattled off 4 straight impressive victories, starting with one against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who we just mentioned are the current 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're currently sitting at where are they?
The Cavs?
They're sitting at 38 and 9 on the year. And one of those 9 is to the 76ers. Without Joel Embiid, by the way. Embiid has not played since, I couldn't even tell you when the last time Joel Embiid
played. He's been out forever.
Yep. Embiid's been out since I'm scrolling and scrolling. I can't find when he stopped playing anywhere here. So he's been out for at least a few weeks here. Paul George, in and out. He was dealing with a finger injury recently. Supposedly a couple days ago it came out he has tendon damage to his finger. So with him, you never know. But when he's in there, he certainly helps out quite a bit. Jared McCain out for the year now after I think he tore his meniscus. That's what he had surgery on. So this Philly team, despite all this going on, Tyrese Maxey and company have found ways to rattle off wins against the Cavs. Bulls, all right, fine. The Lakers by 14, and then the Sacramento Kings by 13. They take on the Denver Nuggets tomorrow night in what should be another tough matchup for them. But without Embiid, with Paul George in and out, with no Jared McCain, who was looking like the rookie of the year early on, Tyrese Maxey has pretty much single-handedly brought this team, back to somewhat relevancy. And I'm not saying that I expect them to climb all the way back up into the playoffs, but if somehow, some way they're fully healthy come playoff time, I wouldn't want to see them in the play-in or even as a 7 or 8 seed in the first round.
Yeah. I mean,
they'll be scary.
I could definitely see them making it. I mean, they're only a game out, or they're not even a game out technically, because
They're
they have the same. There's the
yeah, they
same
are. They're
amount of
tied
games
with the
back.
Bulls
They're
right now.
tied. Yeah, they're tied with the Bulls with 2 games more to play. So realistically, they're in a better situation.
Yeah, that and they got. I mean, they have playoff aspirations. The Chicago Bulls,
Yeah.
you know, they've tried to improve the team, but they know where they stand. They're a play-in team at best. But I mean, you look at throughout the rest of the Eastern Conference standings. I mean, Milwaukee started to find their groove. They're all the way up to the 4 seed. Indiana, Orlando, back to being pretty much fully healthy. They're locked in at the 6 seed. My Miami Heat sitting comfortably at 7, which honestly, better than I would have expected with everything going on.
Yeah, you guys are the Miami Heat is literally, you guys are in the perfect location for it. It's literally a reality show.
It honestly is a reality show at this point. And
Just
speaking
make a
of,
Hard Knocks kinda show just about the Miami
you know,
Heat.
I saw somebody post something the other day about that. What was the Starting Five on Netflix with Jimmy and Ant and Sabonis and LeBron and all them. I saw somebody say that came out 1 season too early. You know, if they had waited till this year and they had Sabonis in the midst of a down year for the Kings and the De'Aaron Fox trade and all of this, you have Anthony Edwards the season after a franchise-altering trade and getting rid of Cat and in taking Julius Randle, and now all of a sudden the Timberwolves look good on some nights, on other nights look like they couldn't beat an AAU team out there. And then you have Jimmy Butler with this whole entire debacle going on in Miami. If they had Starting Five for this season, it probably would have been the greatest show Netflix ever released.
Yeah, it would have
Wow.
been, like, it would have got the most streams in, like, 24
Absolutely.
hours. It would have, like,
It
broke
would have
records.
been the amount of viral moments on there. It would have been hilarious. Unfortunately, we don't get that, but we do have plenty of insiders and reporters giving us the latest on Jimmy Butler and Miami. As just earlier this week, it was announced that they've officially suspended him indefinitely.
Yeah.
So he's done. He's not playing in a
About
Miami
time.
Heat uniform for the rest of the season. After supposedly the story is, I want to say it was Monday or Tuesday morning, whatever day they
He walked
faced
out of
the Orlando
practice, right?
Magic. Yeah. They informed him at morning shoot around that they were going to start Haywood Highsmith over him going forward, which was an Eric Spoelstra decision.
Oh, yeah, he
Wasn't
walked out because of the fact that they said he was not gonna start, right? Or something?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, obviously people first thing they look to is to Pat Riley. And obviously, you know, with him being in charge of the front office in Miami, they think that this comes from him. It was an Eric Spoelstra decision. You know, Pat Riley wasn't the one setting the rotations and the starting lineups. Eric Spoelstra just was finally fed up with it and decided it's, you know, he's not going to go out there and actively help us win. So we're going to bench him. And he walked out of practice at that moment and has not been back since. And he won't be back until he eventually ends up on a new team. So right now it's a messy divorce for Jimmy Butler in Miami right now. And as a Miami Heat fan, it sucks because he probably would have had his jersey retired by the Miami Heat franchise if he didn't go down this path. But he's just been
Do you see
been a
him?
bit
Do
of
you
a
see
headache
him getting
lately.
traded anywhere? Do you see him going anywhere? Is there anywhere specific that you think that he will go,
There's a
if
few teams out
anywhere?
there. Yeah, there's a few teams out there that have the best, what would you call it? The best assets to get the job done. One being the Phoenix Suns, who are the team that can make the most aggressive push for Jimmy Butler. They obviously just made the trade last week with Utah to give them 3 future first-round picks. That is another asset they can use. So they have plenty of first-round picks they can send over in a trade. The only roadblock I guess there's several roadblocks that stop him from just landing right in Phoenix. That being the Suns right now are in the second apron over the luxury tax and cannot hold on to the contracts of Grayson Allen and Jusuf Nurkic in a Jimmy Butler trade. So because of that, the only contract that really matches up with Jimmy Butler is that of Bradley Beal. Here's the other tough part. Bradley Beal has a no trade clause. So wherever Phoenix wants to ship Bradley Beal to, he's going to have to waive that no trade clause. And say a team like Washington or, Brooklyn says, all right, we have some assets. We'll take on this contract and let you guys do the trade if we get some draft capital or young talent, whatever it may be. All Bradley Beal has to say is, no, I don't want to go to this rebuilding team. I'd rather stay here and play out the season. Whole thing falls apart at that point. So that's what makes things difficult for the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat, because Beal has to waive his no trade clause, and Miami would either have to take on that Bradley Beal contract, which is the worst situation for Miami, or find a third team willing to take on Bradley Beal. But that hasn't exactly panned out, because obviously Miami doesn't want Bradley Beal, and the Suns are struggling to find a third team to help take on Bradley Beal. But one trade that would work, and this is where things get a little interesting, because obviously if this trade gets done, you're going to need 3-4 teams involved. This one does see the Suns getting Jimmy Butler and DeLon Wright. The Miami Heat end up with Ryan Dunn, Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, 2029 less favorable first pick of Cleveland and Minnesota, and 2031 swap rights with Milwaukee. So things get confusing here.
Seems forced. Seems very forced.
Yep. In this one, the Bulls get Bradley Beal and a 2027 less favorable first. The Bucks get Zach LaVine, and the Wizards get MarJon Beauchamp and a 2031 second round pick from Milwaukee.
So they get stiffed.
That was a lot. Yeah. Miami pretty much gets stiffed. That's one trade that I don't want to see them make.
Miami, and who was that last team you said?
Washington.
The Washington also got stiffed.
Yeah. Well, you got to also think, like, they're not giving up too much. Besides, I mean, they're really not giving up too much in this deal. They're just kind of there to help facilitate some of these contracts and picks. But I don't love that deal either for Miami. The Mavericks are one that could end up with Jimmy Butler. This trade involves the Pelicans and the Pistons. Has Miami getting Brandon Ingram, Najee Marshall, and Daniel Tice. Pelicans get Daniel Gafford, Dwight Powell, and Klay Thompson. And the Pistons get Max Kleber and a 2025 first round from Dallas, lottery protected.
That one's never going to happen. That's just like somebody who's like, all right, let me take numbers and see what math works, and then let me throw them on a page. That's what
makes this so difficult, is that that's really the only way to get these done, is by some craziness. Here's another one. Golden State Warriors get Jimmy Butler.
I've seen a couple with the Warriors. I want to hear this one.
Warriors get Jimmy Butler. Heat get Kyle Anderson, Gary Payton II, Andrew Wiggins, 2025 first round pick from the Warriors, top 4 protected, 2028 Warriors unprotected first. Pistons get Kevon Looney, 2026 Lakers second round pick from the Heat. For Miami's point of view, that isn't an awful deal.
I was going to say, that's not terrible.
No. I mean, Kyle Anderson.
No way is Golden State just taking Jimmy Butler for that.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're trading Anderson, Wiggins, Payton, 2025 first, and a 2028 first. And they got to get rid of Kevon Looney as well and dump him to the Pistons for their salary. I don't really see that either happening. They have other options too. They could trade Jonathan Kuminga or Moses Moody, but they also have Dennis Schroeder they could toss into a deal. But a lot of this, it doesn't really seem to work for either side, because Miami wants to prioritize shorter contracts. And that's not what they're getting from this. So
I've seen it too. I've seen mentions, and it's not necessarily terrible, is the Nuggets, in the sense of some kind of trade involving
I got you.
Michael Porter or Jamal Murray.
Well, this potential trade sees.
That's like I'm like, personally, I wouldn't be throwing 6 teams into a trade with 85 draft picks and some random guys that are never going to play from the G League. Like, I want to do a 1-for-1 with maybe a couple little things in there.
it's tough to really find trades that can, work in a one-on-one situation here. But one, like you mentioned, the Nuggets, one of these, and the Nuggets are kind of like a wild card team that has an outlet to get to Jimmy Butler, but will they go that path? We'll have to see. It might not be the best move for them, but one trade sees the Nuggets get Jimmy Butler, the Heat get Zeke Naji, Michael Porter Jr., 2026 first round pick swap, 2031 pick swap, and the Pistons get Dario Saric. I don't really love that trade either.
Dude,
It makes sense on paper, but I don't love it.
I would just take Porter for Butler straight up, to be honest with you. Like, dude, just do it. At this point,
Well,
he's causing, I don't care how much money you guys want. He's causing that franchise so many problems. Just
he is.
Michael Porter Jr. has proven himself. Jamal Murray, yes, he's proven himself. I don't like him as much as Porter Jr., but just do an even swap with one of the two, because Christian Braun, he looks
Christian
good.
Brown would be good.
Julian Strother.
Well, the
fine.
tough part with that is right now the Nuggets are, and this is where things get extra confusing when you have teams above certain limits in the luxury tax and whatnot, and you have certain teams below this second apron that basically says, so the Nuggets are $5 million below the second apron of the hard cap and are not allowed to take back more money in a trade. They are allowed to aggregate contracts if they remain below the threshold. So they're not even allowed to just swap Jimmy Butler for Michael Porter Jr. one-on-one,
NBA
because
is
then the
doing too
Nuggets are
much,
taking
bro.
on more money. I know. This is when it just gets too
You
confusing.
got Adam Silver out here saying, I like 10-minute quarters.
Oh, don't worry. We'll get to that shortly too, because
And then
that
you got all the trade taxes, you got
yep.
royalties, you got copyright infringement, you got
Yeah, it's
and make sure you get a
honestly
royalty-free trade going on in the NBA.
It is getting ridiculous. One last one here that I honestly wouldn't hate to see the Miami Heat do. This is a one-on-one trade, not one player for Jimmy, but two teams involved in this trade. Houston Rockets and the Miami Heat. Houston Rockets get Jimmy Butler. Miami gets Steven Adams, Dylan Brooks, Jeff Green, 2027 first, worst of Brooklyn and Houston, 2029 first, second best of Dallas, Houston, and Phoenix. So in terms of money, this is about the cleanest fit for Miami. Cuts its salary about $6 million this season, even more next year, because Adams and Green are both free agents. And that leaves the Heat with Dylan Brooks, who honestly isn't a bad replacement for Jimmy Butler. He's a little hot-headed, but he's a solid defensive piece that can provide that wing, guardage. And it also leaves them with 2 extra first-round picks. So this seems like a win-win on both sides. Houston gets to upgrade from Dylan Brooks and get Jimmy Butler, and they dump a couple guys that don't play much for him. I think this is probably the best deal that either team can get right now.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do it. I'll sign the papers.
Well, there is one other player that is certainly on the Miami Heat's radar.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were going to say another trade. Get the potential trade.
No, we'll switch from Jimmy Butler. We'll move on to De'Aaron Fox now. Yeah. Obviously, the point guard for the Sacramento Kings has grown a little disgruntled with the team. They were good 2 years ago. They were the 1 seed or 3 seed, I believe. Actually, they were lost to the Warriors in the playoffs that year, losing the play-in last year. So far this season, they haven't looked all that great, and De'Aaron Fox is pretty much done. And there's a few teams out there that have been phoning them to try to figure out what exactly is going on with De'Aaron Fox. One of those being the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah,
look to pair up Wemby and De'Aaron Fox, which honestly, that might be the best case for De'Aaron Fox. I mean, you get to play with the next big star in the NBA, who's already one of the top 10 players in the league in year 2. Imagine what Victor Wembanyama could do with a point guard like De'Aaron Fox out there too.
Literally.
That's a pretty scary matchup to even think about. And In return, San Antonio could build a package around guys like Keldon Johnson and Chris Paul, or throw Trey Jones in there. But the trouble here is that Sacramento obviously wants to get some sort of a long-term solution from Chris Paul or from De'Aaron Fox. Chris Paul or Trey Jones doesn't really give that to him. So for the
Proposed trade, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, 2025 Bulls
Evan
first
Vassell's
round
another
pick.
name. Stephon Castle. So there's certainly guys that the Spurs have up to 9 first-round picks through 2031 that they could trade. They have a bunch of second-round picks. They have young talent. They have assets that they could deal for De'Aaron Fox.
What would
Which makes
you?
them the most likely scenario for me.
Sorry, what would you say to this between the Miami Heat and the Sacramento Kings? Jimmy Butler, Josh Richardson, first round unprotected. 4, De'Aaron Fox,
Yes.
Kevin Huerter.
Yes. 100 times yes. And I'll tell you why. I don't see that trade happening because, one, the Miami Heat are not getting De'Aaron Fox without giving up 1 or 2 of Niko Jovic, Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah.
I don't even know who else. I mean, Pelle Larsson's a name you could throw in there, but second-round pick, only plays so much. I love that trade that you just mentioned because, for me, that sounds like Miami is fleecing Sacramento. You get De'Aaron Fox and a solid three-point shooter in Kevin Huerter, who I selfishly also will say, he's from my hometown, so of course that'd be awesome to see him on my favorite. Yeah, he went to Shenandoah. He went to the rival high school of mine.
I can't copy and paste this. So.
Yeah. So Kevin Huerter on the Heat would also be pretty awesome because that just gives me an excuse to talk about the Miami Heat on local radio here and get to make things more about, my favorite team. So I would love that. And Kevin Huerter is another name that is for sure getting traded out of Sacramento. It seems not as if, but when Kevin Huerter gets dealt. So if he's in the deal with De'Aaron Fox, could see that happening. And you said what? The Heat give up Jimmy Butler, Josh Richardson, and what was in a first round
unprotected.
Pick? Okay, sign me up. Sign me up. Any trade that leaves the Heat with keeping. There's 4 guys on the Heat that I think are untouchable.
High school just retired his jersey yesterday.
Yeah, yep, that did also happen. He was just in town. Yeah, and his sister also plays for UAlbany's women's basketball team.
Do you guys have a Fox 40 there too? News station?
I don't think it's Fox 40.
Just posting it for no reason. Anyway,
I mean it's somewhat local, only a couple hours away. I don't think we're Fox 40. I think we're I don't know. Oh, we're Fox 23.
Fox 40 in Sacramento.
Yeah. I just saw that.
Okay, that's crazy because the Fox by me is also Fox 40. But
hey, it's a small world.
Anyway,
but
pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I would.
Shen just decided to.
I would love that trade for Miami. Any trade that Miami can make that leaves them with Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Niko Jovic, and Kel'el Ware, sign me up for. Those are the 4 guys that I think are untouchable. Everybody else, do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I see most trades for De'Aaron Fox include Huerter in it.
Okay, I mean that just makes sense since they want to deal him out anyway. And when you're a solid shooter, you have value anywhere.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, we saw Kyle Korver play in the NBA till he was like 36, and obviously LeBron's doing that too. But LeBron's a specimen. When you're a solid shooter, you can play in the NBA for a long time. So Kevin Huerter, despite he may have had some struggles this season putting up, big numbers in the box score, he's improved in other aspects of the game. He's still a very solid shooter. He's improved on his defensive side of the ball. He can play make. He's an all-around player with an upside in shooting. So whatever team lands him is getting themselves a pretty good player. But as a Miami Heat fan, sign me up for that trade in a heartbeat. In an absolute heartbeat. If I see that notification, I will start doing cartwheels.
Maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. Maybe I fleeced too much.
Yeah, exactly. That's a fleece for the Miami Heat on Sacramento, but we'll see. It's possible. Jimmy Butler wants a trade. De'Aaron Fox wants a trade. The only tough part is Jimmy Butler has come out and said he wants to go anywhere but Sacramento and Memphis. So it started as I'll play anywhere
Just
but
retire.
Miami, and now it's anywhere but Sacramento and it's stupid. You know
Just
what,
retire.
Bruce, we're animated. You got me all riled up here. I think it's time to take a chill pill. Let's play a round of Weddle.
Let's do it.
Let's end this episode or this broadcast on a high note here. Let's
Yeah,
have some fun.
watch
And
us.
then maybe
lose.
depending how fast we do this, I got Pirtle loaded up here. We could do a little NBA Pirtle action.
Let me make sure. Let's get it. I just gotta make sure everybody can see it. Let's see.
Of course, Bruce, our guy, making sure everything behind the scenes is up to task.
There we go. We got it. We got it on. Heck yeah, brother. Hell yeah, dude. We got it on
Now we're talking.
all the socials, dude. I got it on.
There we go.
All the
there we
stuff.
go.
All right. You know what, Vinny? You're the one
Bruce is
that
absolutely
brought
locked
I'll
in.
do the typing. I'll do the typing. You do the guessing, brother. What are we feeling out here? Who do you think
Let's
is the today? Well, this isn't today's. Is the
start quarterback. I'm gonna go with who's someone like middle of the pack in age. You know what? Let's go with Dak Prescott. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Cowboys fan, but he's just first name that comes to mind.
Why is
Maybe we'll do
what? Did I do something wrong?
No, I just think Weddle doesn't like Dak Prescott and refused to put him in the game.
Weddle. So this is today's Weddle. So let's go to Infinite Weddle. And then
we'll try a different guess. We'll try guessing. Maybe Dak just isn't in there. It's all right. We'll go with Lamar Jackson.
We don't support ads around you. How do I turn this off? I don't know.
Okay, well, all right, we got the division. All right. So we know it's Steelers, Bengals, or Browns. Let's go with I know you love this guy, Bruce. Let's go with Denzel Ward. Actually, wait. Never mind. This person is older than 28.
I think it's just offense.
It's
just like offensive, like crucial positions.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, then let's go with Nick Chubb. Okay,
Bro,
Nick Chubb is also not in there.
Why? What is happening?
Let's go with
why does this keep doing this?
Let's go with T. Higgins.
I don't know why it keeps.
All right,
6'4". Wrong team, wrong position.
All right, so it's got to be a tight end or a lineman.
I have a guess.
Let's try David Njoku.
That would be my guess as well.
Except he isn't in there.
Bro, what happened? Why is this game?
Let's go with Pat Freiermuth.
Stop doing this. Stop.
This was supposed to be fun. Okay.
Oh,
so we know it's a Browns tight end.
Yeah, he's too young.
Isn't
too young.
So it's a Browns tight end that isn't David Njoku. I'm trying to think here. I can't think of any other.
You lost me a Browns tight end.
It's not Njoku because he's not in there. Who else do they have at tight end? Who am I missing here?
Bro, I am closing these.
I'm struggling right now. It definitely isn't David Njoku because he's not number 88, I don't think.
No, he's not.
Oh, Man, I'm struggling. Who is the Browns' other tight end? I wish I could phone a friend. I gotta call up Joey Ferris. I know he would know this. You can't think of anybody either, can you?
Bro, don't they have? Do
Oh,
they have?
this is supposed to be a fun way to end the show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who-
I might have to throw in the towel
What
here.
number is Jordan Akins?
No idea. It can't
Is
hurt
he
to
even
try. That's
still
the
on the
first.
Browns?
I don't know. It's the first name we've thrown out in like 2 minutes here. Let's try it.
Hey,
Let's
okay, he's not
go.
ready yet.
Let's go. Way to clutch up, Bruce.
Dude,
Way to clutch up. That's what we needed.
wait. Why is the page unresponsive? Wait, what was the one you were gonna do?
It's Pirtle, but like Poeltl, like Jakob Pirtle. Yeah. And then there should be if you do Pirtle Unlimited, there's another website that has an unlimited one. Yeah, that's it on World 2. Yep. All right. Do we want to swap this one here? You do the guessing.
You're better with NBA than I am, so I feel like I should have done the NFL one, but I'll help you through it. I'll help you through it.
All right. Give
Let's
me
start
a
with-
name to start out with. Yeah. Kristaps. Okay. All right. So it's a Western
He's
Conference.
26. Yeah, he's in the West.
Western. Oh, wow, this must be old. It still has Kristaps as a Washington Wizard.
Whoa, yeah, that's it's gonna throw us for a loop there,
This
guy.
is definitely gonna throw us off. Let's try. Let's see, 26 years old, and let's try Zion Williamson. I don't think he's actually 26, but
it's in the West.
Forward. Okay.
21.
This guy's short. Or no, they're in between 6'6" and 7'3".
He's in the West.
Let's go with. Trying to think. Let's go with forward. Who's a forward out in the West? Let's go with DeMar DeRozan. Although this might not even have him on the Kings. Yeah, this still has him on Chicago.
Bulls,
oh,
yeah.
buddy, that's definitely throwing us off here.
I wonder what year this is from.
It's got to. I mean, if Kristaps was on Washington, this has to be at least 2 years old.
Yeah, true.
Well, now we know for next time. Let's see. West from 2 years ago was a forward.
Yeah, now you gotta dig back into the old the old vault, dude. Forwards.
We'll try. Oh man, and they're 26. Well, they were 26 back then, so they're like 28, 29 probably now. Let's go ahead and try. Trying to think of someone in the Pacific Division. Let's go with Kyle Anderson. I know he's on the Warriors now. Obviously, it wasn't back then, but
He's 6'9".
Okay, so they're in the West. They're 6'9". We know they play forward. 6'9" forward out in the West. Jeez, this is tough. Let's try. I need to look at the teams here. So we know they're not in the Southwest. Let's try. No, Kawhi's not 6'9". Let's try Kevin Durant. I'm pretty sure when this game is from, though, he would be on like Brooklyn or something. We'll
yeah.
see. I'm pretty sure he's taller than 6'9" too. Yeah. Okay. They still have him on Brooklyn. This is really throwing us off. Let's see. Oklahoma City Timberwolves. No, let's try Michael Porter Jr. I like that guess. I'm pretty sure he's 6'9". He's only been in Denver, so he's got to be in the West.
6'10".
He was 6'10". Wow. Okay.
How
So
old is he? Oh, 28. I was about to say, is it just LeBron? And I forgot he's 28.
okay, so we know he's not. So we know he's got to be in the Pacific Division. He's got to be Sacramento, Phoenix, Lakers, Clippers, or Warriors. Andrew Wiggins?
He's
Oh
6'7".
man. Oh my. Okay, so we know it's not the Warriors.
What teams is that? Lakers,
It's between the Clippers, Lakers, Suns, and Kings.
Clippers, Lakers.
I guess try Talon Horton Tucker. Like I gotta think like 2 years ago who was still there. Whoa.
It's not the
Oh,
Lakers. He's a
jeez. All right,
guard.
so it's wow. They really have him as a guard. Huh. All right, so not the Lakers, not the Warriors. God, who would be on the Clippers back
How
then?
long?
Paul George.
How long has Bam?
Bam's been on the Heat his whole career.
Oh,
He got drafted by them.
what about Jarrett Allen?
He's a center.
He's a center.
Yeah. Trying to think of wings on the Clippers, Suns, and Kings. Who could it be? Let's try.
I want to put a guess in just because.
All right, throw one out there. John Collins. Trey Lyles.
Yeah, I was never gonna get that.
That's a tough one right there.
This one's
We
a
got
little
couple of tough
harder
ones
than
today. And
you
know what sucks about it is Trey Lyles is still on the Kings too. It's not even like he was there and isn't anymore. We probably could have gotten that one. All right, what are you gonna do? Now we know for next time. We'll stick with Weddle. Maybe I'll try and find a different basketball game for us to play. But
we'll get it all sorted. We'll get it figured out. We'll be.
Hey,
chilling.
we still got Jordan Akins.
Still got Jordan Akins.
That was all you, Bruce. And,
I don't know how it wasn't Njoku, but still got Jordan Akins.
I don't know. Hey, all that matters is we got it done, and we went a little long today, but no biggie.
Be like that.
We're just having fun here. Yeah. There's no time limit on having fun. So
exactly.
Bruce, as always, it's been good, my friend. We'll do this again tomorrow morning. We'll be previewing the weekend around college basketball. Special guest set to join us around 11:30. Stay tuned because it's going to be a good one. More of the Regular Fan Show coming up tomorrow. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, ding the bell.
Ding
as my partner
the
Bruce
bell.
Today. Ding that bell. Twitch, drop a follow. If you're on TikTok, give us a like and a follow. Only takes a couple seconds, but
it's easy.
So much.
It
means so much to us. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always.
Hit your
and
shot.
like I said,
hit your shot.
I know. I had to put the basketball away in the drawer because, as you can see, my dog likes to chew it up, and I caught her trying to eat little bits of the orange fuzz last time she was playing with it. So now I got to keep it away from her just to make sure she doesn't eat any orange.
The day you hit this, we gotta give out some money. This is
Bruce. We need to have money to give out first.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. So
really, because it's about to happen right now. 3, 2.
All
right, almost. We're getting there. Well, we'll get there. Don't worry.
One day.
One day. Well, again, thank you everybody for tuning in to this Thursday edition of the Regular Fan Show. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. sharp, like we always do. Bruce, talk to you tomorrow, buddy. Good stuff as always, and we'll do better on Weddle tomorrow. I feel like we're getting it within the first 3 guesses.
Yeah, we got it. We can't not.
All right, Bruce. See you later, my friend. As always, great time. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back at it tomorrow, 11 a.m. Peace.
Take care, everybody.